C and PD going west or north on PD towards the park. You can see how the stop sign has a blinking rim around it because this is a very dangerous intersection. ATVs coming from PD would have to turn left across the dangerous intersection, and cars coming down C are going about 50 to 55 miles an hour, even though the speed limit is 45. Now the speed limit is 45. And in theory, or at least according to the law, ATVs are supposed to go 25 miles an hour. And I'm going to show what this is like at 25 miles an hour if ATVs are obeying the law. This is 25 miles an hour in a 45. Any ATV going faster than this is exceeding the speed limit, and we all know that the manufacturers do not recommend that ATVs go very fast. UTVs are a little better, but ATVs are certainly not supposed to go faster than 35 on a paved road. It's very dangerous. So at 25 miles an hour, now I'm going to show you what it's like to go 45, which is what a normal vehicle would go without exceeding the speed limit. And now 55, or just below that, which is what most vehicles travel here on this road. It's obvious that a vehicle coming up to an ATV on this road, which is meeting the speed limit, would come up very, very fast, put the ATV rider in danger. As we get closer to the crest of the Niagara Escarpment, you can see that at Godwin Road there is a sight problem. Any ATV that's over the crest of this going 25 miles an hour would be at extreme risk. Right now I'm going 50 miles an hour, and if I'm combing over the crest, ATVs are much lower than normal vehicles and don't have good lighting on the back, so I could come up on an ATV so fast that I could not stop. Now the speed limit up here reduces to 35 miles an hour, but the damage is already done. We're over the crest. It's so easy to come up on an ATV that isn't well lit, that's going 25 miles an hour, and hit them. As we go down the slope, the speed limit is now 35 miles an hour as we approach the intersection of Elm and Duluth. The problem down here is this is also a very dangerous intersection. There's limited sight distance for people going north and south on Duluth, partly because of the Waterfront Mary sign, and partly when going north on Duluth and crossing going to the park, there are trees and a house. An ATV rider here, to follow the law, would have to put a hand signal on the left and then turn down North Duluth. Cars coming down the hill might not be able to stop, might not see them. Cars coming the other ways won't see them that easily, particularly if they're at the Waterfront Mary sign, because it's very difficult to see around that sign, and people will not be looking for an ATV, which is darker and lower. So ATVs will be at risk that cars will be pulling out, going straight, or turning right, and the ATV won't be expecting anything. Now, on North Duluth, the speed limit for ATVs is pretty much 10 miles an hour. This is because the town ATV rules say that you have to be 10 miles an hour when approaching or in the area of a pedestrian, 150 feet from a pedestrian, or 150 feet from a home. This is 15 miles an hour. This is 10 miles an hour. The speed limit on this street for the most part is 25 miles an hour, so any car coming up on an ATV is going to have a closing speed of at least 15 feet. In addition to that, and this is the same case up on Highway C, it's a very soft shoulder. An ATV attempting to move off to the side would have one wheel on the pavement, one wheel on a soft shoulder, and could easily go out of control. You can review the video from Highway C and see it and believe it's even more extreme there, because the shoulder is in some cases swampy. Now we come down the dangerous curve and hill where the speed limit is 20. I'm going 10 miles an hour, and again you have a sight problem. Someone going 20, 25, 30 down this hill will not be able to see a low ATV that is going the speed limit, which is 10 miles an hour. Could easily run into the ATV. Bullhead Point is on the right. You cross from city pavement across a town parcel that's the entrance to Bullhead Point, and then down to the city Bullhead Point. Now continuing straight, which is the town, the road gets very, very narrow, and it gets winding. Again, the shoulder here is even worse than anywhere else, with telephone poles that are a foot off the shoulder. It's a soft shoulder. Any ATV attempting to get out of the way of a vehicle going 25 when they're supposed to go 10 or being frightened by a vehicle approaching them very fast and they need to get out of the way for safety, is going to go onto a soft shoulder, probably hit a telephone pole or a tree. This house here is so concerned about vehicles they put a concrete wall up. This also runs into other regulations with ATVs regarding decibels that are perceivable by people who are in dwellings. It's obvious that any decibel restriction, and there are some at the state level, would be exceeded by these cliff dwellers and related residences in this area. So you have a noise problem. Down here, the road pavement narrows to about 16 feet, barely wide enough for a car and safe travel for an ATV. This is where hundreds of crossings are made just about every day in the summertime by people using the pool at cliff dwellers. Going 10 miles an hour, which is extremely slow. And again, there will be vehicles stacked up behind the ATVs at most of this road. Many of them are going to be the septic trucks and the truck servicing Waterfront Marys. As we get further down, heading towards the park, there are houses that are closer than 150 feet, pretty much along the way, meaning that the town speed limit of 10 miles an hour would be enforceable. The shoulder is still soft, and there isn't much room for someone to get out of the way because of the cliff on the left side, which then gets a little bit better down here, but there are still trees very close to the road. There is no safety factor on this road, from telephone poles, cliffs, trees, soft shoulders. We're approaching the Waterfront Marys area and the end of the road. ATVs coming down Duluth, going all the way to the end, would have to turn around at Waterfront Marys, which is private property, or they would have to go onto the state park parking area and turn around there. That area is often filled with cars for people who are hiking the trail or bicycles. So if ATVs do not want to use public or private property, Waterfront Marys, or any of the driveways here, then they have to turn around in this tight parking area down here. Any ATV that wants to park here presumably would have to have a park sticker, because this is state property beginning at this point. Now, this is also the Ice Age Trail, and there are lots of hikers and bicyclers down this way. The town speed limit of 10 miles per hour for ATVs under the circumstances that affect North Duluth is an enforceable speed limit. And any citizen has the right to call the authorities if anybody is speeding. I'm pretty sure the residents on this street who are upset about having an ATV route imposed upon them will be vigilant for calling the authorities when ATV riders are exceeding the speed limit or any other violations. And they may have proof of that with handheld radar along with photo devices on the radar, and they will call. So the residents of the street basically don't know why problems are going to be imposed upon them by ATV routes being imposed upon North Duluth.